Hello, hello. Hey there, guys. How are things going? Yay. Alrighty, alrighty. So nice to see you all. Greetings from Portugal. It's very, very nice here, and I'm having a really good time. The food is amazing. Just a quick update, all right? Just a quick update before we start the lesson. Um, Yeah, so well, I'm actually together with Lisa here. I think most of you know about Lisa. So we visited California uh, 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago. She's my girlfriend, so we moved to Portugal together. Um, and yeah, it was a one-way ticket, and here we are, here in Porto. Um, this is our second day here. And this is a very nice flat, small, cozy, in the center of Porto. Still searching for, I guess, more of a long-term rental. For now, we are here, but we see how it goes. And yeah, lots of fado, amazing music. It's everywhere and delicious food. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Portugal, but it's that place to be if you like seafood. Yeah, Madeline says yes, yes, yes. You do like seafood. That's great. Just like me, I love seafood very much. Anyway, so the it's very fresh. It's right at the ocean. It does remind me of California. I don't know why. Just like the weather is a little bit. It kind of it's not too cold, it's not too warm. I don't know. It does give me a little bit of the San Francisco kind of vibe, you know. It's very hilly. I mean, I guess it depends where in Portugal, but in Porto and Lisbon, it's quite hilly. So I'm expecting to lose a lot of calories, which is good. Working hard. And yeah, I'll be updating you guys with some whatever we're going to do. But for now, it's just a lot of just trying to find more of a long-term rental, either here in Porto, or maybe a different place. So kind of going with the flow, I would say, and also preparing for the retreat, which is going to happen in May. So lots of preparation. We need to actually drive to the Quinta, which is more down south, like about 2.5 hours from here. If you guys don't know what a Quinta is the traditional Portuguese like mansão, right? Or like the big villas, houses. I don't know. It's not really a villa. It's just like, yeah, mansion. Is that a word? Mansão? Something like that. Anyway, so they call it Quinta, and that's going to be our retreat in middle of an olive tree farm. So it's going to be very beautiful, but there are some things we need to work on. We need to actually meet the staff and do some work. So we're going to drive there. Lots of things on the scheduled anyway. And whenever I can, I'll give you guys an update if you're interested, of course, through our chat group. If you like to be part of this journey, maybe some of you already have visited Portugal, so you know about the port wine, right? Actually, just yesterday I did a tasting for port wine, and apparently there is a white port. I always knew about the red one. It's like the sweet wine. But yeah, so for the first time I did try the white one. And you know what? It turned out to be my favorite wine. I love port because I really have a sweet tooth, it from the Ferrero Rocher time, So now I have a new thing. So port, that's the new thing. All right, guys. So today, hallelujah. Enough talking. Let's work. It seems like you have been waiting for this lesson for a while now. I wasn't aware of it. But well, it's one of those songs that I really enjoy playing. I don't know, whenever I'm performing, it's one of the songs I usually include in my set list. And I don't always play it by the tabs. And actually, no, I never play it by the tabs. I never play anything by the tabs. I always change things. Farah knows everything about it. That's why when she asks me, "Hey, how do you play this?" I'm like, "Oh, did I even play that?" Anyway, it gets pretty messy sometimes, so I'm sorry. So yeah, let's dive into this. Just a few quick things before we begin. Um, it's an old arrangement of mine. Again, you can recognize it by the fingering. So the blue letters are the right hand fingering, which can help you with assigning your right hand fingers to the right strings. Sometimes we run into trouble when we don't know which finger to use. So again, this is a suggestion, and I'll talk about it a bit later. I'll give you some tips about it. What else can I say? Oh yeah, this I did play it in the video, right? So in the video that I included on Patreon, this was played on a low G. Okay, that's how I ended up playing this arrangement, and it sounded pretty good, so I kept it on a low G. However, I have my high G ukulele with me. That's my little travel companion, goes with me everywhere I go. Not the best sounding uke, I'm afraid, but um, it does sound pretty decent, for its size and knowing that it's actually a very thin one, and it's a high G. So I just played this song right before the class just to kind of get into the mood. And hey, Jenny, hey there. And guess what? With a very minor adaptation, it sounds very good on a high G. I don't know if you guys already tried it on a high G, but actually there's just one note that if we change that one note into something else, this arrangement is totally playable on a high G and it's gonna sound great. But hey, that's my opinion. I don't know, maybe you guys don't agree on that. So anyway, this lesson is gonna be on the high G, which is good because I think most of you anyway play high G, so it's kind of, that means everyone can follow. What else? Some just general things about the song. I guess let's dive into it. So fingerstyle, it's a fingerstyle arrangement. It's a very popular song, Leonard Cohen. By the way, if you guys don't know the version from Jeff Buckley, you gotta listen to this one. Anyone here is not familiar with the version of Hallelujah played by Jeff Buckley? Okay, homework. Whatever, like if you haven't listened to this one, this is my favorite Hallelujah. And also the story, I mean, Jeff Buckley died, in a very tragic, he had a very tragic death. So I think just like hearing his voice singing this song and the way he's playing the guitar, it's like I have goosebumps, like seriously, it's unbelievable. Anyway, let's dive into it. Right hand. What do we do with the right hand? Right hand. So the easy way to assign the fingers for this particular song, or actually any type of a finger picking song, is the good old 4 fingers to 4 strings, end of the deal. Right? So no exceptions, none of that. Just follow that strictly. To remind you again, if we're playing a song in an up tempo, meaning if the song requires you to play faster, you might run into trouble because that if you have a double motion, so sometimes we need to pluck the same string multiple times, right? It can happen. You can see it in the score. Sometimes you have multiple notes followed, right, one after another, where you need to pluck the same string. So if you decide to play Hallelujah in a fast tempo, there is a different technique which you can indeed assign the 4 fingers to the 4 strings, but then you start helping those plucks on single strings with the walking technique. So let me see if I can see it in a song. Actually, we're gonna start by learning it, and then I'll point it out later on so you guys can see the exact example and how we deal with the specific thing rather than me going all over the place right now. Just for now, let's stick to the 4 fingers, right? 4 strings. The pinky is out of the game, just chilling, relaxed. Okay, so there is kind of a pattern going in the song, and I want all of you to, it's a very basic pattern, and it goes like this: thumb, index, middle, ring, and then going back. Right, so I'm actually playing the first bar, the first measure, without using my left hand. So let's just call it a warm-up, all right? So it's kind of part of the song, but let's just get used to it a little bit. That's the beginning, that's the intro without the left hand. So follow me here. Thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index, and then again. Oh, sorry, no, my bad. We have to plug the fourth string. You got it. Exactly. Let's do it again. 3, 4. Fourth string, third string, second string, first, second, fourth, okay? Try to move your fingers as less as possible. Keep them in a position. Don't do this, guys. I don't want to see that. That slows you down. It's not a good motion, right? So we want to keep the fingers, see, just plucking with the tips of the fingers. Again, just reminders. I know I've been talking about it for the last few years. Anyway, so what I want to do right now, let's assign our fingers, and I need your help. I want you to think with me, because there's always like different scenarios, different ways. Let's think about the left hand, and let's assign the left hand fingers to the first measure. How would you play it? Give me a suggestion. Talk to me a little bit. What is the most convenient, what is the smartest way to get our left hand fingers work? So, and keep in mind, the less movement we do, the better. The better we can anticipate towards the next note, the better, because it gives us, it saves us time, right? Any suggestion? Of course, I can tell you the way I do it, but I kind of, I want you guys to think with me. Maybe you find a better suggestion. Thank you, Phyllis. And thank you everyone for joining this class. There's a large group here.
You mean the warm-up?
No. I'm talking about the actual first measure. Like, what fingers are we gonna use to press on those frets that you see on measure 1? I'll give you an example. That's maybe what I would do. How about, and you tell me what you think. How about middle finger for the 3? And then the third finger, the ring finger, for the 4, right? So we start here, we reach out to the 4, and then with the index finger, I connect it to the second measure. Shelly, I love your hair. Wow, congrats. Okay, that's a very fresh haircut. Alrighty, so this is what I would do. And if you think there is a better way, just let me know. I'm trying to anticipate the movement. So middle, ring, index, right? So this is kind of the way I would do it. Knowing that, let's try and play the first line together very slowly, because it's kind of a repetitive thing. There's some minor changes there, but I bet you all can follow if we play it very slowly. Shall we do that? Oh yeah, see, towards the end there is a hammer on. You know what? Let's not play the entire first line. Let's just play the first two measures. Let's just start with that. The first 2 measures on repeat. 1, 2, 1, 2, including both hands. We're all ready? This song is in 6/8. Okay, 6/8. Meaning 6 8 notes. So if you count then the number of notes in every measure, there are 6 of them. Sometimes you have, of course, more of them. Like if you look at measure 12, there are, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes, right? There are 7 notes, but that means some of the notes are faster. So some of the notes are 16 notes, but 6/8 means 6 8 notes. Of course, you can put more notes in it, but then you start looking into the 60 notes, 32s, whatever. And therefore, I'll be counting until 6, not until 4, right? So every time we'll count until 6. So 2 measures, measure 1 and 2. Let's do it together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, to the fourth, and back to the beginning. First measure. And connecting back to the first measure. That's your intro. That's already the signature line, right? The signature riff or melody. It's not really a melody, right? But it's a very characteristic sound of Hallelujah. Like the moment you start doing that, everyone is like, oh, that's Hallelujah. So I have a question for you guys. What are the two chords? I didn't specify the chords, but it's kind of obvious, and I want you to think about it. So the first measure, okay, good job, Shelly. C and AM. C for the first measure, AM for the second measure. And then this is a very good way of looking at it. Just a small analysis, right? Just to help you understand what you're doing. I think it's quite important. So it's pretty much the C chord with the finger picking pattern, passing through, we call it a passing note. What is the passing note, guys? Help me out. What is the passing note? The fourth fret, right? It's not in the chord. That fourth fret on the fourth string is not part of the chord. It's just a note that makes a movement towards the next chord. Is that clear? So we have the C, we have the AM, and a note in between which does the connection. And that's why we hear it as the signature line of the song, Hallelujah. All right, so far so good? Everyone's with me? No one is falling asleep? Good, because I had a lot of coffee today, so you gotta keep up with me. Okay, the coffee is very good in Portugal, very, very good. Okay, Susanna, hey there. Have you been in Portugal? I know you speak Portuguese. Have you? That's awesome. In Porto? Oh, hold on, I don't hear you. Why is that? Still not. There are a lot of Brazilians here. I mean, you know about that.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, now I do.
Okay. So yeah, my brother lives in Lisbon.
Oh,
So I went to visit him, yeah. And we went to Porto as well.
oh, fantastic. You had a good time?
Yeah, lovely
Oh,
time.
great. Great. Actually, I can't wait to try some Brazilian food. There's so much of it here, you know. I'm really looking forward to try some traditional Brazilian food. So maybe if
Yeah.
you have some suggestions of some Brazilian dishes, let me know.
Yeah, well, okay, yeah, I'll send it them to
Just drop me a
you.
message. Sounds good. Okay, let's move on, guys. Next, the next section. So measure 3 and 4. 3 and 4. Let me talk about it a little bit. Well, measure 3, it speaks for itself. It was still around the C chords, right? So the C chord with a passing note, and then measure 4 is again the A minor, right? It's still under the A minor, but there is a little extra there. Towards the end of measure 4, we have the 0 connecting to the 1, some kind of a hammer on. So what I want you to do there is take your index finger, so pluck your second string. So I'm talking about the very last two notes of the first line, right? Pluck the second string, which is a 0. We do the pluck with which finger? The middle finger, because every finger is already assigned, right? We don't have to think about it so much. We plug that string and then we hammer on the first fret. That's why you have this arc, right? 0 to 1. So this is how we do a hammer on. You make the index finger very round, very curved, like a little hammer, and we hammer on the first fret until you get a good sound. It can be a very nice exercise, and please pay attention. You gotta, that first fret should be loud enough. It shouldn't be too soft. Okay? That's the F. So E, we have the open second string, E to the F. E to the F, second string. Okay? You know what? How about let's try to play measure 4, only measure 4, so we kind of get that hammer on together. Are we all ready? Let's do it. 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And another important thing, now I'm playing it very slowly because it's kind of an exercise. We're just getting, familiar with the song. But as you can see, I'm keeping my index finger pressed on the 2nd fret. I'm keeping it pressed right until the end because we want to get the sustain going, right? We want to get the most out of this note. So keep this one pressed. I'm talking about the same thing. So measure 4 on the first line. And so while pressing it, there's nothing else happening on the 4th string. You just press it and you keep the finger there and then you add the hammer on at the very end. Don't release the finger. Don't release your middle finger. And a reminder, when we're playing songs such as this one, which is a chord melody song, this is very, very important. If you want to move towards an intermediate advanced level, it's more like those fine details that make a very huge change in the way we play. Try to get sustain from the notes. So don't take off the fingers if it's not necessary. So keep your fingers pressed. All right, am I clear with that? This is just a good example of we do it in every bar, in every measure. Okay, what I want to do right now, let's play the first line together. Okay, from the beginning till the end. So 4 measures. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, here's one thing I wanted to point out. In measure 4, we don't go to the index finger, we go to the 2nd finger because we want to get, a bit more in the position. Am I clear with that? Because previously I told you to do this, right? Middle, ring, index. And that's the pattern. But then the pattern gets broken because we got to do that index finger thing, right? The hammer on. So therefore, in measure 4, we connect it with middle, ring, middle. Okay? Work on that. Let's move on, guys. Let's move on. So that was the intro. The moment you start playing this intro, everyone knows what song you're playing. Let's look into the melody, the next part, verse. The verse. Okay, that's where the melody is. So, yeah, the pattern here is, there are a lot of changes. So it's not very consistent because there is a melody. So the melody is breaking the flow. So there's not a lot of repetition, which is normal. You follow the melody, and therefore it changes the pattern of the left hand, the right hand. And that's why we call it an intermediate class. It's not just an easy strumming and, So let's just break it down. We do the same work, one measure at a time. And with the same, I'll remind you guys on how to practice songs through those exercises. So basically through this song, it's again a reminder of how to do problem solving. So let's look at measure 5.
Boris?
Yes.
Hi.
Hey,
Does
hey.
the hammer-on work with the index finger?
The hammer-on is with the index. The letters above, the blue letters, are for your right hand.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay? Cheers. So, measure 5. I want to play measure 5 with all of you, all right? It's very easy, so not much to do with the left hand. You just keep that 3rd fret pressed. Let's just decide what finger we're going to use for that 3rd fret. I would say, I guess the 3rd finger. Would that make sense? Because in order to decide what finger we're using, this is a very important one, right? Because you're going to be doing it also without me in the future. You always need to look at where you're coming from. So the previous bar, so look at measure 4, see what fingers you've used there. That was the last finger in measure 4. So it's totally fine to use the ring finger here, right? And also you need to look at what happens after measure 5, the connection. So just to make sure that you know that everything is comfortable, everything is falling in the right place. Anyway, measure 5, let's do it together. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 2 strings. We gotta pluck 2 strings at the same time. Is that clear? Because the 2 notes are written above each other, right? They're vertical. We plug them together. Make sure to plug them right at the same time. You don't want to have this. You got to plug them right at the same time. Okay, once again, measure 5. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good job, everyone. Let's move on. Measure 6. Measure 5 was the C chord. It's again a C chord. If you want to, you can write it down. If you decide to strum this song later and sing it, you know, no problem. So it's just the C chord in a different shape. Measure 6 is the AM chord. Again, back to the AM chord. And let's play together. Just measure 6, guys. Just measure 6 and possibly on repeat. Let's just repeat it multiple times. 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once again. 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6. Last round. Okay, so remember how I started the class telling you about the way we should use our fingers in the right hand? And I told you, let's do it the easy way. 4 fingers assigned to 4 strings and don't think about anything, right? So this measure is a good example of something that some of you, that I'm recommending for some of you who are more intermediate, I would say more advanced players. So it's a particular technique that can help you play faster and yet be very relaxed when you're playing faster. So I want you right now, actually for everyone, just even if you decide not to follow that technique for now, but I want you to understand the concept. So again, this concept is for when you decide to play a song in a faster tempo and you want to be very relaxed in your right hand. So check out the right hand fingers, the ones that are in the score. Do you see that on the first string, we alternate the fingers, so we call it alternation of the fingers. So we start walking, because when you pluck with one finger, when you do multiple motions with one finger, you cannot do it too fast. Or even if you're doing it fast, it becomes very clumsy, and therefore the sound is not going to be good. So therefore we start to alternate, because we don't want to compromise on the sound. So what I'm doing here, if I follow the blue letters, P-I-M, right? These are the fingers. We did it last time as well. So P, that's pulgar, index, middle, A, annular. Alrighty? So we plug the 3 strings, just how it's written. And then first movement with the index finger, right? Sorry, I'm playing the wrong chord. The AM chord. 3 strings, index. The index finger is plucking the first string, then alternating to the middle finger, and then coming back to the thumb, index, middle. That allows me to play way faster. Right? These 2 walking, index, middle, index, middle. Am I clear? Again, it's something new. It's not for everyone. So if you're used to this type of arrangements, I suggest you to look into this technique. If you feel like, hey, this is still like something new, I suggest keep it just on the basic 4 fingers assigned to 4 strings and no alternative techniques, just that. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. What else do we have there? Measure, what is it? 6, 7, measure 7. Oh, do we need to do that? No, not really. It's kind of the same as measure 5, right? So that's cool. Oh, then again, we have kind of the same repetition. So measure 8 is the same as measure 6, right? Almost. but I think we're good. We're good. We're fine with that. Okay, what I want to do right now, let's speed up the tempo of us learning the song, unless you guys have a question. Any questions until this point, by the way? Because I'm going to go a little bit faster. Like we discussed all the basics, and I'm not going to be breaking it down anymore. No questions? Okay, let's play the second line. So from measure 5 till measure 9, including, right? 5 to 9, the entire second line. Let's do it together. The chords for the second line are, by the way, C, A, M, and then F. So measure 9 is F. If you want to write it down for yourself, that's going to be the F word. Alrighty, let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Good job, everyone. Going to the F chord, F. That was it. How are you guys doing? Good? So-so? Spicy? Good. Gotta be spicy. Let's do it again. I'm not going too fast, right, with the counting. I'm just trying to like follow you guys. So just feel free to give me a little bit like, hey Boris, this is way too slow, or this way too fast, you know. Anyway, that's the disadvantage when you're all muted, you know. But imagine if you wouldn't be muted. All right, let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. Alternating, possibly, right? To the F chord. And we stop. I bet you can already recognize the melody a little bit. Now, here is a tip along the way. That's going to be your homework, by the way. I want you to take a marker, and I want you to try and find the melody notes within the arrangement. And maybe later on you can also share it in the group, in the chat, on Telegram, you know, if you want. But I think it's very important to distinguish what the melody is, because, you know, in the beginning, these are all just a bunch of notes, just zeros, threes, fives, whatever, just frets and strings. But we need to distinguish the melody and highlight the melody, not only with the marker, but we need to highlight the melody with our right hand, plucking it a little bit, well, accenting the melody pretty much. So the melody needs to come out clearer. You know, it has to be very clear. Otherwise, if the melody is not clear, we're not playing Hallelujah, we're playing whatever, right? So it's not only plucking the right strings and pressing the right frets. There's more to that. So therefore, this is your homework. Take a marker, try to understand where the melody is. I'll give you a quick tip to help you find the melody. The melodies are usually the top strings. Most of the time, this is the highest note. Okay? So another exercise that you can do, your homework, try to play only the melody without the rest of the notes, because the rest of the notes are the chord. These are the filling in notes. I'll give you an example. We just played the second line. Let me play the second line, but only the melody. Check it out. All right, that was the melody. Now with the chords, right? Now it all makes sense. So this is your homework, guys. Let's move on. Line 3. What do we have there? What do we have there? Okay, what I want to do there, let's just play the 10th, measure 10. Let's break it down. Let's see what we can do there. So can you guys tell me what chord is the right one for measure 10? What do you think? G? Would that be a G? Very good. So that's the G chord, guys. So again, if you want to simplify the song and just sing it along, write down the G chord, strum it in 6/8. Well, there's obviously a bunch of strummings that we can use, but we're not going to discuss it today. But it doesn't really look like the G chord because again, we have a melody that you need to highlight. That's why I want you to do that. And the melody changes the entire pattern and the feel of the left hand. So the way I would position my fingers, I think I would do something like this, guys. So middle finger for the 2nd fret, 3rd string. Then I guess the ring finger would go to the 2nd string, 3rd fret. You can also do it with your pinky, I guess. One of the two, whatever makes you feel comfortable. I guess the middle finger, the ring finger does the job. Anyway, and then the index finger for the 1st fret. So let's play this measure together. Everyone's ready? 4, 5, 6, 1. Now, if you pay attention, there is again this alternate picking, right? Can you see that? The 3 to the 3. So that's the same, this is the same string, and right, we're playing the song in the very slow tempo, so it doesn't make sense, right? Why should we change our fingers? The moment you're gonna speed up the song, you'll feel the difference. That's what I want to point out. Right now it's very slow, it's just an exercise. You can literally play the whole thing just with your thumb if you want to. Like seriously, it might feel the same. But the moment we speed things up, that's where you feel the difference. Okay, so it's better to practice the right technique in slower tempos so it gets registered, and then everything becomes way easier. Let's play it again. Measure 10. 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. Once again, in repeat. This time I'm not going to stop. The same measure. 4, 5, 6. I'm actually using the wrong fingers. Hold on. 4, 5, 6. So you see what I wrote there? I'm trying to avoid a repetition of the same finger. Can you see that in the score? If you look at the blue letters, the main point is not to repeat a finger. It doesn't even matter what finger you're going to use, but the point is not to repeat a finger. So therefore I use the annular, going to the middle finger, and then going to the index finger, and then going to the middle finger. You can decide, by the way, find other combinations of fingers, no problem at all, as long as you don't repeat the same finger. That comes with this alternative way of playing that is very, very helpful when we are playing fast, right? So with that technique, I can play. Alrighty? Fast and with a good sound. Let's move on. Measure. This one is easy. Measure 11, it's fine. Let's look at measure 12. So that's where we have 7 notes, and that's what I was telling you in the beginning. If we have 7 notes, that means some of the notes are faster. So faster means, I guess, 16 notes. So this one sounds like this. Oh, by the way, let me just guide you through the chords. Measure 11 is the C chord. You can already write it down for yourself, the C chord. Measure 12 is the G chord. I bet most of you already see it. Okay? And it sounds like this, measure 12. Let me play it again. Okay? So from the 0 to the 2, again, a hammer on, an arc, and it's pretty much the G chord, guys. You're just holding that G chord, you lift the middle finger, and you're hammering on the 2nd string while pressing the rest of the notes of the G chord. Okay? Let's do it together. Measure 12. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops. I messed it up. 1 second. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep your middle finger round and curved, guys. If you want to get the proper sound, right? Round and curved. Try to make it fit between the rest of the fingers. Okay, let's try and play the third line. So from measure 10 to measure 13, including measure 13. 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah. Okay, third line entirely. Let's try to put it together. Everyone's ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, G, another tip along the way, maybe some of you are already doing that. That finger, the ring finger, I'm keeping it pressed pretty much throughout the entire line. The entire third line, I'm just keeping that finger pressed. Can you see that? There's no reason to take this finger out. It's there in the G chord, right? It's there in the G chord. It's there in the C chord, right? You guys can see it? Just pay attention to the note on your second string, your second line. It's pretty much that finger. Don't lift it. No reason to lift it. You're just losing time by lifting it. Okay, let's move on. We are at any questions? Are we all good? Alrighty. The next line. Let me play you the next line. Let's see how it sounds. I love this part. That's the next section. Okay, I have a little question for you. The question is, there is a typo. I do them on purpose, by the way, to keep you alert. So there is a typo. Can you find it? Let me see. Is there a typo? Oh yeah, there is a typo. Anyone? Okay, I'll narrow it down. The typo is in one of the measures. It's either in measure 14 or 15. 14 or 15. Can you find the typo? Okay, I'm going to narrow it down even more. It's on the first string. Okay, and then and the answer is in measure 15 on the first string where you're plucking, you shouldn't go to the 0 on the first string. You should keep the 3rd fret. Okay? No 0 on the first string. So measure 15, it's kind of an AM chord. The AM chord. First you press that 3rd fret, and then I wrote it as if you need to take that finger away. Don't do that. Keep it pressed. So instead of the 2 zeros on the first string, there are 2 3s, or 3 3s in a row. Okay? Sorry about that. Okay. Actually, let me play you the way it's written, and you will hear the difference. So the wrong way of playing it would be. I think it's. Okay, sounds better to me. It's a minor detail, but I do hear the difference. Okay, this section is a little bit tricky, so let's break it down. Measure 14. What are the chords? We have the F chord. First, we start with the F chord. Half of the measure is the F chord, so the first 3/8 notes is the F chord. And the last three measures, so measure 4, beats. The beats 4, 5, 6 in the same measure, right? This is the G chord, so there are two chords in one measure, F and G. So let's try to play it together. Everyone's ready? Measure 14, only that one. 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. I love this section. That's it. Let's repeat it again without stopping. Now we don't stop. 4, 5, 6. Don't stop. Keep on going. Same measure. G chord to the F chord to the G chord until we get it right. To the F chord. G chord. Good. Let's move on. Measure 15. The chord is AM for the entire measure, but it's an AM with an added note. Actually, it's not even an added sound, like it's by default in the triad. I know not everyone is a theory geek, but anyway, for the ones who were looking into triads in my theory geeks class, and you know what it means, there's no new notes, but actually it's still like an extra. It's one of the notes, but just a different inversion or so of the AM chord. So anyway, this is the way I would play that AM chord. The position would be middle finger on the 2nd fret, 4th string, okay? And then my choice would be adding the pinky. That's, again, you might do it with your ring finger if you're really feeling comfortable. I prefer the pinky for the 3rd fret on the 1st string. Okay, so again, pinky for me, that's my choice. It's a smoother connection, I think. Anyway, and then you keep it pressed. You pretty much keep those two pressed throughout the entire bar. Let's do it together. Measure 15. 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. Don't play the zeros, right? It's a 3 right now. We just changed it. Let's do it again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do it again. 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good? Everyone can follow? Fantastic. Okay. Now we're reaching like that annoying little section. Actually, I love that section. I think that's the the prettiest part, but not sure if our fingers love this part. The next part, can you tell me the chord? What is the chord, guys? So measure 16. What do you think? It's an F. There's no 7 in it. So just a 7. F with the C, but well, the C note is within the F chord, so it's an F. The C chord is the C note is one of the triad notes of the C chord, so it's one of the holy trinity of the F chord, which is F, A, and C. Anyway, now this is how it sounds. Let me play that section for you. That the measure 16. Let me see. There is a bit of a stretch, guys. So we start here. We start with at the F chord. So, but it's not the usual F. So it's just these two fingers, the usual F, right? And then we add the pinky on the 3rd fret first string. That's the new F. Okay. By the way, it can be always a substitution. If you like this sound, you can always use it as a substitution to the F that you're all playing, like the basic one. Now, later on, you see that we go into the 5th fret. And what I want you to do, I want you to try. It's going to be a bit hard, but try it. If you don't succeed, we'll deal with that. Anyway, keep the F and try to reach to that 5th fret. I know it's hard. It's hard. And for that, if you don't succeed, I don't want you to struggle too much, but I want you to pay attention to the way you're holding the instrument when it comes to this moment. Because it is a hard section. Therefore, we need to be very much aware of how we position the instrument. Because if we're playing like this, it's not going to work. So you need to hold it upright, you know? The neck needs to be in this angle, not dropping. All of that affects the angle of our fingers. So please pay attention. Make sure the fingers are round and curved. So anyway, this is the F chord. And then we reach to that 5th fret, but keeping the rest of the fingers pressed. Alrighty? Now, if all of that still doesn't work, and if you're struggling so much, no problem at all. What you can do, you can release one of the finger perhaps. Maybe the middle finger can go, so a bit less tension. And even if this is difficult, just release everything and just go to that 5th fret. No problem at all. Okay? So let's try to play measure 16 together. Everyone's ready? 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, by the way, again, alternate picking. You see that I'm changing it's too much. There's too much going on right now. We're learning something new for the left hand with a big stretch. It's already occupying our, our minds pretty much. So I suggest take it one step at a time. Maybe focus on that 5th fret. Don't care so much about the alternative picking that is written in the score. Later on, you can introduce that. First, get used to whatever is happening here. All right. Let's do it again. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keeping the fingers pressed. One more time. I know. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. Middle, thumb, index, ring. Let's do it again. 4, 5, 6. All the fingers, index finger, middle finger, thumb, index, ring. Hard, I know, takes time. Let's move on to the next measure. What is the chord? What is the chord, guys? What is the chord? A type of a G, Shelly is saying. Do you guys agree? It's a very lovely G. We call it G5, as a matter of fact. Which is, again, it's a G chord. It's a G chord. You can substitute the G chord with this shape. So this is our shape, guys. If you want to learn like the frame of this chord that is in measure, what is it? Measure 17, right? This is how it looks like. Index finger on the 3rd string, fret 2. Middle finger on the 2nd string, fret 3. And pinky, no ring, pinky on the 1st string, fret 5. If this is a new shape, first of all, keep the fingers round and curved. You see my fingers? This is how they should look like, round and curved. Not like this, don't flatten them, don't do anything like that, we don't want that. And the exercise can be the following. Strum, open the fingers, strum the open strings, bring it back, train your muscle memory. That's just the usual exercise we all should do when it comes to a new shape. And by the way, you can take this further with you to every other bar or whatever shape you're struggling with, like something new or whatever, and just press release in tempo. We know how that goes. Okay, let's play measure, where were we? measure 17 together. How about that? Wherever Shelly says. All right. Here we go. Everyone's ready? 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more time. 4, 5, 6. Last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good job, everyone. Okay, how about this? It's gonna be a bit hard, but let's try it. We're working on separate bars. We're all working very hard. I can definitely tell. But we need to do even more. I know. You're all sweaty, but we need to connect. We're not working enough on the connections. We don't have 3 hours, we have only 1 hour to do this thing. But ideally, later on, tomorrow, the day after, you still need to do some work. You need to glue all the bars, all the lines, everything. You need to work on every transition. So how about this? Let's look into the, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, into the fourth line, and let's play it through. So from measure 14 till measure 17. Let's put it all together. We worked on separate bars, fantastic, but can we play it actually through? Not sure. Let's try. Everyone's ready? Because that's the hard section, by the way. Here we go. 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. To the G chord. 1, 2. To the AM. 4, 5. To the F with the first string note. 4, 5. To the G5, 1, 2. I'm sure I'm playing it already way too fast, so I'm very sorry about that. Right? I guess I'm playing it a bit too fast. Let's try it again, slower. Here it comes. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next. Alternate fingers if you can. To the F chord, next bar. Stretch to the 5th fret. Try to keep it pressed, the rest of the fingers, right? 5th fret to the G5. And the final note, here it comes, that's it. Here's another exercise. If you're struggling with this line, what you have to do is start with the plain shapes. We have the F chord, we have the G chord, we have the AM, right, with that pinky on the 3rd fret. Then we go to the F chord with still that pinky on the 3rd fret. Then maybe try to get to that 5th fret and just strum it. So basically what I'm trying to do, forget about the pattern of the right hand. Don't follow all those complicated, finger picking patterns. Just strum the shapes of the chords. For that, you need to know those shapes. So you need to look at the tabs. It's not just the C chord, or the G, the way not the basic ones, but actually from the tabs. And try to do it in rhythm. So basically F, G, AM with a pinky on the 3rd fret, then F with a pinky on the 3rd fret, going to the F with a pinky on the 5th fret, then going to that G5. By the way, the transition between that F with a pinky on the 5th fret and the G5, you see there is a connecting point. Your pinky is already on the 5th fret. Can you see that? So don't lift it. Very useless to do this motion because we're gonna be late. So F with a pinky on the 5th fret, going to the next measure, G5, the pinky stays on the same string, same fret. Okay, guys, let's move on. I want to finish the first section with you. The chorus we're going to do some other time. I took it I broke it down quite a bit today, so I think even some beginners can follow. I took my time with the explanation. I hope everyone can take something from this class, rather than just passing through the song very quickly. But I'll get into the chorus in the future, maybe next month. Let's see how it goes. All right, measure 18. What is the chord, guys? Help me out. What's the chord? What's the chord? What's the chord? You guys know this chord? So that's the E chord. Very good. That's the E chord. What I want you to do there, a full bar chord on the fourth fret. Fourth fret, full bar chord, all right? And then the pinky comes on the seventh fret, first string. Your first exercise is this, guys. Get familiar with this shape. It's a great E chord. Actually, I think the easiest version of the E chord. So strum it, release it. Get used to the shape. Strum, release. Bring the fingers every time, right? Muscle memory, muscle memory. Later on in that measure, in measure 18, we need to go from the index finger. Again, that's the melody. That's why I want you to highlight this melody. It's very important to see why it's happening. So that from the pinky to the middle finger, that's the fifth fret. You see this transition? So what you can do as an exercise before we start using our right hand in the full capacity, how about we do this exercise? The E chord with the pinky, and then the E chord with our middle finger, with the fifth fret. And what is that chord, by the way? It's E something. Anyone? So when we add the fifth fret to the E chord, very good, Mary Eve. So that becomes an E7. So E, E7, E, E7. Work on the transition. Reach a point where you don't have to look at your fingers. Your eyes should be at the score. But again, it's a transition. First you can look, no problem, but make the transition, become more familiar with how your fingers should work, where you should, the way you use them, where you press, keeping them round and all that. Okay, let's try and play measure 18 together. Everyone's ready? If you can, use the alternative picking. If it's too much, use the four fingers, four strings position of the right hand. Don't bother so much. Here it comes. 4, 5, 6. Oh, I messed it up. My bad. Let's do it again. Sometimes playing it slower it's harder than playing it faster. But we have to do it. 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth fret. A little bit slower. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ring middle in the right hand. Again, that's the E to the E7. Last round. 4, 5, 6. 7, 5. Okay, the rest is homework. Let's continue to measure 19. 19, 19. What is the chord? What do you guys say? What's the chord in measure 19? So Shelly is saying, let me read your message. I like using my pinky for the fifth, so it guides me to the next bar, but it might not work for everyone. The pinky on the fifth, like this way. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it works. Eventually, whatever makes you feel comfortable, guys. But I want you to check different options. That's very important to check whatever works for you, but don't only stick to one way. Just check a bunch of them and then make your decision. Okay, measure 19. It's an AM chord with a melody on the first string that you need to highlight. So that fifth fret is just part of the melody. For the rest, is just an AM. Let's try to play it together. So for that shape, I want you guys to put your index finger on the fourth string. After 1 hour of talking, it's like blah, 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 blah. Nothing makes sense anymore. Anyway, string 4. That's easier to say. And fret 2. Now the pinky will be playing the fifth fret, and maybe you can follow what Shelly suggested. Maybe the pinky can go to the 3rd fret, kind of works. Why not? Or maybe you can go to your ring finger, also works. So let's play it. Measure 19. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Last round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's move on. The last measure for today, guys. And then we have the intro and the verse, which is great. Measure 20. Do we need to do that? I don't think so. Let's just write, well, let's do it very quickly. It's an easy one. Measure 20. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I should have written an alternate picking there on the 0. You can see that? Because actually I wrote it as MM. So basically you plug the same string with the middle finger, but you could also use other fingers there. And I'll let you choose whichever fingers you want to use. But again, just find a way of not using the same finger multiple times. Let's do it again. 20, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is for the AM chord. This is still an AM, by the way. Okay? One more time. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alrighty, guys. Before we play through, and it might be a bit tricky. Yes, I know. You still need to do some homework. It might take a few days, maybe it will take a week. And like I said, we will look into the chorus and the outro part a little bit later. You can also do it by yourself, by the way. I gave you most of the tips on how to work on it. And just by looking at the chorus and the outro, well, first of all, the outro, you can do that because it's the same as the intro. So mark it off, right? Chorus, you know what? I think you guys can manage. I think with all the information today, you can definitely manage playing the chorus. All right? So I'm not even sure if we need to do a class on the chorus, if you ask me, right? Makes sense. Anyway, so I have a question. Jenny, I know you've been playing this song for a while, weren't you? Farah, have you been playing this song as well before?
Yes, I've been playing it.
So I'm just wondering, because I don't want to be the only one, like, teaching you guys on how to do stuff. I also want to hear a little bit from you, just maybe like, what was the difficult thing for you guys? Or like maybe just share some tips with us, of, whatever you guys think, like maybe a tip or two on just easing this whole process of how to approach a song such as this one. What do you say?
Take it one piece at a time and work on the transitions, I think. And probably I would focus on getting the hammer-ons in time, because I think that's something like when you're practicing slowly, it's hard to get those in time. So I think maybe with a metronome for that.
Yeah, a metronome is a really good thing, So maybe you can start with putting the metronome on 8 notes. So basically every click is a number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So every click you gotta pluck a note. All right, this way it's a little bit easier to start with. Jenny, maybe a tip or two? What do you say?
I don't know if I have well, I know that I can see from my notes when I did it before, there are parts where I strummed instead of finger pick, just to kind of add, like on measure 14, it looks like I did, like maybe when I repeated it,
Right.
to add, you could strum on some parts.
That's a good one, actually. Good that you're mentioning it. So yeah, you guys totally can do that. So now that you know, I think did I mention all the bars, like all the chords that it's like in the first part of the song, of course. So if you guys know the chords that that belong to every bar, you can simply strum on the one. Just do a full strumming. I'll give you an example. So let's say, well, Jenny just said measure 14. So rather than doing this, you can do this. So I'm strumming on every beginning part of the chord. So F, and then I'm plucking the two remaining notes. Rather than just plucking those groupings of strings, I'm just strumming all of them, right? And then for the G, I'm doing the same, strumming and adding the two remaining notes. Then you can even do the same for measure 15, which is the C chord, strumming the C chord, right? So you can be a bit creative with that. Well, thank you, Jenny. That's a good one. I completely forgot to mention that. It's not in the score, of course, but Mary Eve, you have a question?
Yes, at the beginning you said that if you play on a high G, you might have to do just something different somewhere.
Oh, very good. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you. I don't think we actually reached that point because it's in the chorus. But I think since I will leave the chorus to you guys, you will totally manage, I think. But I do want to specify, I want to show you which note that is. So for whoever is playing it on a high G, please look at measure, well, the very final measure of the chorus, which is measure 28. Okay? So the last three notes of that measure, which is 2, then there is an arc, which is a pull off. We call it a pull off. 2, pull off to a 0, right? So again, measure 28, the last three notes. 2, pull off to a 0, and then we go to a 4. So that 4 sounds great on the low G. All right, so if you have a low G, just follow as it's written. If you have a high G, instead of that 4, play an open second string. No 4, forget about that note. Instead of that 4, pluck an open second string. Is that clear? And let me just play it for you so you guys will hear how it sounds. So this is how it will sound. If I will play on a high G, the way it's written, it's gonna sound like this. Let me see, I'll play somewhere from that line. You notice that 4, it felt like, I mean, it's okay, but like, as if like we want to hear something else there. So now let me play you my suggestion for all those low G players, right? So if you're playing a low G with that second open string, it's gonna sound like this. A bit smoother, right? A bit more natural. There's no like suddenly a high note coming from nowhere. Is that clear? Okay, the last thing I want to do, I know you're all very tired, but I like to finish the lesson with just running it through one time, all of us together in a slow tempo, just putting it all together, whatever we've worked on. Okay, so from the intro to the verse, slowly, okay, one time, and we finish this one. Let's do it. And if you are really tired, you can just listen. No problem. Take a break. Here it comes. 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. Second measure. Here comes the melody. Very good. F chord. Prepare to go to the third line. That's the kind of the G. Back to the C. G with the hammer on. Prepare to go to the fourth line. F, G, A, M. Keep the third fret. F chord, stretch to the fifth. G5. Bar chord, E. I'm gonna continue. Chorus, you can join me if you like, but we haven't worked on it. Second line of the chorus, kind of the F chord. Actually, it's a very easy part. Chorus is very easy. Second string, outro, which is the same as the intro. And the final chord is a C chord. We're gonna just strum it. And we're done. Thank you very much, guys. It was a long one, I know. A very long class. But hey, I think we covered it all. Hallelujah. Alrighty, thank you all for joining. Take a break. Share some thoughts in the chat. And as I said, maybe you can also share some of the homework, right? You remember what that was? And if not, just watch the replay. I'm tired. Bye-bye. Alrighty, thank you guys. Thank you. I see you next week for the Aloha night. Please be there. I need you. Ciao guys. Ciao, ciao, ciao. See you soon. Ciao.